I'm Duce the privilege, and I'm about to
See,
vent.
like, all right, so a lot of people wouldn't understand like why you smiled and like why you brightened up so much when you talk about such like a violent area back then, right? And what about those memories?
Nah,
Like,
it wasn't that I was brightened by it. It's just nostalgic, man. It's
yeah,
just
that's what I'm
like
saying. So, but a lot of people like to run from this nostalgia, right? What makes you like embrace it?
it's a part of what makes us who we are
Hmm.
in many different ways. Like because a lot of the crazy shit that I've seen, I've avoided a lot of crazy shit because I'm
Hmm.
able to recognize the crazy shit before
It
the
starts.
crazy shit starts.
Hmm.
Because you grew up in that environment. Um, it's like if you grow up sheltered to an extent, you don't really know how to respond
Hmm.
when certain things happen. You're not used to those circumstances, so of course you don't know how to deal with it. But when you experience certain things and you grow up, in a certain area, you respond to things a little differently. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for my upbringing. That I feel like I grew up on like both sides of the fence, where I grew up in the hood, and also really not really being in the hood. So
So let's talk about that other part, not being in the hood. Where would you say like this was? Like what part?
I mean, any part like me, I'm from Brooklyn. I went to school in the Star. My family's from the Star.
Hmm.
I lived in Kensington most of my life. Flatbush, whatever, outskirts. Kensington and Flatbush is kind of like Clinton Hill's best stop. Like depending on what block you're on,
Hmm.
or depending on who you talk to, it determines where you at. For example, LG.
Hmm.
Some people consider LG the star.
That's the
Some
star.
people consider it Clinton Hill.
It's the end of the star. That's the star.
I think it's technically Clinton Hill though. No, it's not.
That's the end of the star.
but but shit like that.
Mm.
But just being like I grew up around. I got friends that didn't grow up around white people. I grew up around white people. I grew up around all different races
Mm.
and ethnicities and nationalities. So I got to experience all different types of people firsthand, and I didn't really have to go on what I saw in the media when it came to certain people in different cultures and shit like that.
Mm.
So I think that also helped me to be able to communicate with all different types of people anywhere I go.
What was Kensington like?
I mean, Kensington is cool. It just depends. Like Kensington borders Flatbush,
Mm.
Borough Park, like with all these new names now, everything is different now. Like
Hmm.
the property lines have changed, the names have changed. But when I was growing up, it was just basically in between Sunset, Borough Park. We're surrounded by Sunset, Borough Park, Flatbush,
Mm.
Park Slope.
Okay.
Like
So it's around the Prospect Park type area.
yeah, right by Prospect Park. Kensington Horse Stables. Look it up. That's legendary.
Mm.
But yeah, we right by Prospect Park. We neighbors to Flatbush. Like I represent Flatbush. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm.
rep Flatbush. Like I
Mm.
lived in Kensington. Like and walked to Flatbush every day.
Gotcha.
You get what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
it's like walking from Bushwick to the Star,
Mm.
crossing Broadway.
Gotcha. All right. So you've had, like you said, you've had it. Like you get life from both sides of the tracks, right? So we had a conversation a little bit earlier about that, like everything having the sort of duality, a yin and a yang towards it, right? Um, for what you understand about it now, and like duality and things of that nature, right? You had like an interesting perspective on like good and bad. There's no such thing as good and bad to you, right?
For me, I try not to look at things from a good and bad perspective. I try to assess how they affect me,
Mm.
and I think that your perception of things will determine how you feel things affect you, and that determines how you respond.
Mm.
Like I was saying, I believe life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you respond.
Mm.
For me, it works better for me just assessing the situation as what happened, why it happened,
Mm.
what's the outcome, and what's next, as opposed to looking at it as good and bad. Because everything that happens for a reason. I might not know what that reason is at the time,
Mm.
and I just try not to be like negative. I don't like
That's
negativity.
cool, but when you look at life like that, where's the happiness in it?
The happiness is in perspective, in my point of view.
It sounds really like real like feelings in purgatory, right? Because if you just look at things of like how they affect you and where we move on from here,
Because
right?
emotions are
How,
temporary. So
but
so so
but isn't that, I mean, all right, so but the endorphins of life and that happiness in life, everything is temporary. Everything is temporary. Not just feelings, not just emotions. Everything is temporary.
So, happiness is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
So, sadness is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Perspective is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Happiness, along with sadness, typically are results of perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I opt not to look at things through a perspective that projects sadness,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, if instead of me looking at the glass as half empty,
Mm-hmm.
of me looking at it as something, I have something in the glass.
Mm.
There could be nothing in the glass. It's not even half full, half empty, right? It's just there's something in the glass.
Mm.
I'm grateful for that.
What
That
if
in itself is happiness.
So
My glass is not empty. I'm happy for that. That's it.
yeah, okay, got you. And this attitude, you don't ever find yourself like at any given moment like, damn, that was fucked up.
Briefly.
Okay, so you feel.
Of course I feel. But here's the thing. I don't really, like, I might feel something's fucked up, but maybe it had to happen.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
look, therefore, it's not negative.
Mm-hmm.
It just had to happen.
Mm-hmm. But your initial feelings are your initial feelings, though. You do have initial feelings.
But my initial feeling doesn't mean it's negative.
Like, no, maybe not the situation, but do you feel negative?
You could say some shit, right?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, damn, Slops, that's fucked up.
Mm.
It might have been funny. I might laugh. Like, my initial feeling is, it entertained me. It was still fucked up, though. Like, I didn't heard some people say, yo, you said some foul shit. That was fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Still made me laugh. It was funny.
Mm.
So my feeling was I was entertained by it. Doesn't mean it's not fucked up.
Mm.
But I don't know. Like I said, I take those L's, right?
Yeah. Don't do this. Don't be that
Turn
person.
the W.
Don't be that fucking corny. Don't be that guy.
Take L's.
2 L's make a W. Oh my god, don't be that person.
Yeah, that's gonna be my next shirt.
2 L's make a W. All right. No, I get it. All right, then. Cool. I'm not. Usually, like, if I, because I don't usually do that. I usually don't push back on, like, people's thoughts and things of that nature. But, sometimes when I find it interesting, but I don't understand it, I have some pushback to it. And I want to, delve into it and understand, like, alright, well, what about this situation and what about that situation? Like, is this things, like, universal? And I think what I've, like, in my summation, what I think I misunderstood when we had our first conversation originally about it is that you do still have your initial feelings on these things.
My thing is this. Before I feel, it goes back to I think. Mm-hmm. Before there's a feeling, a thought precedes that. Like, before that, you know what I'm saying? It's a thought first. It's a thought. Because look,
miserable existence.
I don't see how a feeling can come before a thought.
That is the essence of life. Life is the feeling first. You know, the reason why you think is to put yourselves in the positions where you can feel the best. You get what I'm saying? So
that is the thought process, right? Mm-hmm. But everything is a thought. Mm-hmm. Like, unless it's involuntary, it's thought of. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying?
I think we've come with a real chicken to egg conversation. This is a real chicken to egg kind of debate right here.
So what do you think came first, the chicken or the egg?
I have no fucking clue. I've given that up years ago.
It has to be the chicken.
It has to be the chicken.
With no chicken, there's no egg.
With no egg, there's no fucking chicken. So what was that chicken made from? Where did that chicken come from?
Fucking the earth.
You see what I'm saying? Now we have zombie chicken. We have thriller chicken. It just came up from the earth. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. All right. So, but you see the argument.
But here's the thing. It's the thought first. It's the thought because here's the thing. Whatever happens, you feel about it because of how you're taught to think about that scenario. Mm-hmm. For example,
and these things are
if your dog dies.
Yeah. You're not taught to feel bad. I mean, I think Yeah, I mean,
If your dog dies, you're gonna feel bad because we're taught that death is bad and painful.
Motherfucker, it is. And whether or not you want to, whether death doesn't necessarily have to be bad, but seeing somebody ever again.
We're taught death is bad and painful, and I just feel like we're conditioned. Our thoughts, we're conditioned to think a certain way, which means we're conditioned to react a certain way in certain situations.
I could say the reaction might be a little bit like might be conditioned, but the feeling, no.
The feeling,
because you have to accept.
The feeling is the reaction. A feeling is a form of reaction.
No, but sometimes you're taught to react to certain things, to certain feelings. You understand what I'm saying? Like some people are taught to act out anger in violence. Some people are taught to act out anger in something a little bit more productive. You get what I'm saying? So like your feelings are something that everybody's going to have. I think with death is always going to be negative because you are now going to be going on in life with somebody you probably never thought you would have went on, or you never processed having to not see again. That is always going to be a negative. Maybe in a feeling.
Maybe for you.
How the what yo this we ain't never gonna get nowhere, bro.
You know why? Because you have to understand there are people who have come to accept death is a part of life. You have people who celebrate death.